Figure it out. All right. Welcome everyone to our September Zero Waste Task Force meeting. My name is Courtney Williams with WASS, Westchester Alliance for Sustainable Solutions. We're glad you could join us for our Youth Spotlight. We are highlighting three projects by local Westchester County students, as well as a program for our Westchester County students at tonight's meeting. So we're glad you could join us. As always, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat with your name, your organization, and your location. And if you want to share your icebreaker, we're sharing what was the highlight of your summer. So we're glad you could all be with us tonight. WASS stands for Westchester Alliance for Sustainable Solutions, and it is an alliance of community organizations from across Westchester County working together to close the Wheelabrator trash incinerator in Peekskill. That is where Westchester County burns its garbage. It is the largest industrial air polluter in Westchester County, and it is why we are highlighting the student projects to reduce waste at our meeting tonight. So we're glad you could be with us. So this is our agenda. I'm going to do a bit of introduction. I've got some announcements. Then we will get into our student spotlight. We have Maddie Nam with Skate from Scarsdale High School. We have Hajong Lee from Hastings with her Kids Upcycling Club, POWER, which stands for Plastic Waste Reduction. And then we have Giovanna Leva and Marjorie Paulino with Sustainapack from Yonkers, and they are students with ELOC and YPI, Yonkers Partners in Education. And then we are joined by Dr. Diana Williams from Environmental Leaders of Color to talk about their youth programming around sustainability and clean energy. And then, as usual, after the presentations, we will have our community discussion and Q&A. Everyone's welcome to use the chat and engage with the speakers in the chat before or during that Q&A. And as always, we are going to take action tonight to move Westchester County towards zero waste. And I've got a bunch of exciting upcoming events to share with you. So with no further ado, we do have a big announcement. So prior to now, for the past several years, our Zero Waste Task Force meetings have always been the second Wednesday of the month. Starting with our October meeting, we are switching to the third Wednesday of the month. So if you have a recurring calendar event, make sure you update it with the third Wednesday of the month. We will change the Zoom reminders and everything to reflect that, but wanted to really flag that for everyone. The other thing that we really need is we have a big ask and we've set a big goal for ourselves, which is before the December 3rd budget hearing for the Westchester County Board of Legislators, we have set a goal to meet with every single county legislator and talk to them about zero waste and the trash incinerator. And the idea is to educate them and to urge them to act to reduce waste and move the county towards zero waste and away from trash incineration. That will improve our air quality, it will save us money, and it will most importantly improve the health of Peekskill and area residents who are breathing emissions from the incinerator. So what we need from you all is we need a constituent, meaning someone who lives in every single legislative district in the county, to step up and agree to reach out to your county legislator and request a meeting. We can reach out, but if we're not their constituent that they represent, it's not as meaningful. So we really want someone from every district to step up and request the meeting. And then what you need to do is attend, but not by yourself. A WASS volunteer will go with you. They'll have all the materials prepped and everything. We just need you to request the meeting and then attend. So if you are willing, you can raise your hand and or comment in the chat and let us know how best to reach out to you to schedule that with you. But that is our goal, and we're hoping to really impress upon our legislators how much work we have ahead of us and how important it is to be planning ahead. So, the other big announcement, and it's much more fun, is a save the date. So, our October meeting is actually going to be in person. And then following that, or as part of that, we're going to do a potluck at my house in Peekskill. So, we're going to start at 5:30 p.m. at Charles Point in Peekskill. It's an easy walk from the Peekskill train station. And after touring the outside of the trash incinerator and allowing everyone to see where their waste goes, we are going to head to my house for a potluck. If you would like to join us, please email the WASS email account for all the details. And if you have mobility and limitations, and you need a ride from the train station or anything like that, let us know. The tour itself will be minimal walking and it's a paved wheelchair accessible path. And also, if you need accommodations for those with hearing impairment, let us know that in advance so we can provide those accommodations. And then after the potluck, we will provide transportation back to the train for everyone. So if you are interested in joining us on Wednesday, October 16th, shoot us an email so we can make those plans with you. And with that, I'm done with all my announcements, and I am going to stop sharing and hand things off to Maddie Nam with Skate.
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie. Um, I'm really happy to be here. Everything that WAS is doing sounds really great. I am really in for the getting rid of the incinerator because I didn't know about that until recently. My project is about fast fashion.
Maddie, oh, good. Yes. All right. We
Yes.
can see the slides.
Sorry.
Great.
Let me just get out of chat really quick. Sorry. Okay, so my project is called Skate. So, I've lived in Scarsdale for my entire life. But within that community, I've created kind of my own little community. I've been on a synchronized ice skating team for about 9 years now, which is one of my greatest passions, and I really love to skate. Every so what happens is that every year there's 16 people on the team. We get a new program with a fun music and like dresses to match it. So we have really niche specific dresses each year to match our theme. Here's an example of what it would kind of look like. This was last year's program. It was flamenco, very interesting. Um, but the problem about having new unique dresses each year is that um, it's kind of falling to the fast fashion culture where we're just using the dresses once and then we don't know what to do with them. Right now, they're being stored in one of the houses of one of the board members from our team. She holds all the dresses in her basement, but they're kind of building up and we don't know what to do with them. So it's not a long-term solution. Eventually, it's going to have to go to waste, and we all know where those dresses are going to go. They're going to go straight to the incinerator. And burning clothing also releases microplastics, which is really bad for human health and like it's an endocrine disruptor, I think. And I think that's one of the themes from one of the past weeks. Um, so I'm trying to fill this community gap. One being my community gap, my skating team, us not knowing what to do with our dresses. It's not really like we want to waste them, it's just we have no idea where to put the dresses. So my proposal is kind of facilitating a connection between our team and other communities, specifically low-income communities that maybe artistic or theater, dance programs in schools. They may need dresses, but they may need costumes or specific costumes, but they may not have funding or resources to get those costumes. Whereas we have these costumes, we don't know what to do with them. So I'm hoping to kind of address this gap. Although, one note that I will add is that I do not know exactly if this gap exists. I mean, I'm sure it does, but my first step is going to be sending out a Google form to schools, theaters, ice theater programs, which do exist. Just kind of like getting a gist of how these programs are operating. Like, do they ever actually run into these issues with getting costumes? What do they do after costumes after they're being used? I think this kind of information would be helpful to me when I'm addressing that gap. Um, okay, so my solution would be hopefully to like develop a system like that will develop into an organized website, kind of like a shopping website. If you've heard of Depop, my website would kind of be similar, much simpler but similar. I would post pictures of all the dresses, different sizes and styles, and you would be able to order it from there. I would be shipping it, hopefully be able to just ship it directly by like UPS, postal service. Or if it's local, then I could drive myself. Um, so what's great about this is that there's going to be less waste from our dresses, and then we're also fulfilling that need from other schools. Um, and then also, once I have my website set up, I want to kind of scale it. I'm not on the only synchronized ice skating team, although it is not a very common sport. There are others outside of New York. There are some in Chicago, Boston, New Jersey, Connecticut, all over pretty much. It would be hard to reach those teams, but hopefully once I have this established with the underserved communities and my community, I would be able to expand to outside teams. Um, another, wait, sorry. Another note is that once I am able to like gather interest from other schools or dance programs, since the dresses are really niche, they would have the option to tailor it. Although I'm still kind of working through that because I don't really know how expensive tailoring is. I think tailoring is kind of expensive. So I have some alternative solutions that I'll add on the end of this slideshow. So do I really see the solution? The art programs that are going to be recipients of the unused dresses now have the opportunity to enjoy creative costumes with limited waste. Because the same materials will be cycled and reused, less resources such as textiles would be wasted or necessary to purchase, which would save money from low-income communities. And less resources means less waste. So less waste would be going to the incinerator to burn, which would help lift off some of the burden from air pollution from the Peekskill residents. Many of these costumes would be enjoyed by all communities, especially these low-income ones. Um, so in order to officially initiate my project, I have to reach out to stakeholders. Starting with my skating team, there are still questions that need to be asked. I've been waiting for the right time to reach out because the season just kicked off and they're very busy. But I will have to talk to the board members asking about how many dresses we have, like are they sorted? I don't think they're sorted right now, so I need to work through that obstacle as well. Um, I would have to reach out to these underserved schools, theater programs, or dance. I think I would mainly be reaching out to ice theater programs, which is basically like theater on ice, kind of how you would imagine it. But I'm imagining they also require obscure, unique, creative costumes, kind of like what I do. So hopefully I'd be able to facilitate that connection and gather interest from them through Google Forms. Maybe I can have some Zoom calls with them. And then if they need it and they agree upon it, then once I gather all the interest, I would set up my website and make the first purchases. And then I will learn through that experience. I've never made a website before, but we'll see how that goes. I also want to reach out to tailoring companies. Um, I'm still a little iffy on the tailor part because I might just keep the dresses how they are. It might be too much of a burden on me to get tailors to like add tailors to the website, mainly because it's too much. It might be pretty costly for schools that may be trying to save money, and there wouldn't be as much as like a reason for them to come to my website rather than just buying a dress or a costume. So I might reach out to fashion graduate programs at the Westchester Community College or any like nearby upscaling fashion programs or initiatives. Like any programs that would be good with sewing. Um, I'm hoping to find a way to make this more affordable. And then, yeah, as I said, I have some logistical issues that I kind of want to work through. That's kind of why I'm here. I also want to see if anyone else has any input. I really do want to add a way to adjust the dresses to my website. I cannot find a place to do that for me. So if anyone has any ideas, that would be really great for me to hear. I also don't really have a way to transport the dresses. I mean, I have a plan of I might use like UPS or just generic um, rental trucks, or I might drive it myself, but it might get a little complicated once I start scaling it. That might be a bit more of a future me problem, but I still would like to figure that out too. So if anyone has any ideas, that would also be really great. Um, the dresses aren't really sorted yet, but yet again, I don't really know how many there are, so maybe I could just do that myself, but I might need to create a team to help me with that. And then the other synchro skating teams are kind of a far travel and live outside of New York, so it would be a little difficult for me to go by myself. And it might be difficult for me to find tailoring that's near them as well. So that's my project. If anyone has any questions or any helpful comments, I'd really appreciate it because I am still very flexible. I'm more focused on the problem than my own solution. I really want to help with the problem that is on my team and like beyond my community, but I still need to work through a lot of logistics as well. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
Um, So the dresses are at a certain family's house, but I don't really want them to still be holding on to the dresses. It's not really a family I want to be like constantly communicating with, like back and forth. So if anyone has any ideas of where I can store these dresses without like keeping on having to go to their house and pick up the dresses and transport them, that'd be great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Maddie. So there, you've got some question, at least one question in the chat. So if you want to engage over there, otherwise we at the end we can also take questions. So thanks a lot. Next speaker is Hajong Lee with Kids Upcycle Club Power, Plastic Waste Reduction. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Hajing Lee, and I'm a junior at Hastings High School. I can share my screen now. Okay. Is that working?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, so Kids Upcycling Club Power, Plastic Waste Reduction. I made this project last year with my friend Ella Kajigo, but she cannot attend today's meeting. So with our project, we are addressing plastic pollution because it is estimated that by 2050, there will be more plastic in our ocean than fish. And unless addressed, plastic pollution will continue to destroy our ecosystems and kill life on our planet. These are two specific problems with plastic pollution that we addressed. Recycling loopholes, what happens to collected curbside recycling. 91% of globally produced plastic is never recycled annually. This is because of transportation, such as illegal dumpings in low-income countries, downcycling, which is when plastic being recycled is used in less important products, and incinerators, which we talked about, when plastic waste is burned and contributes to 2.24 gigatons of global CO2 emissions. Furthermore, we also addressed lack of awareness about sustainable businesses. Our data showed that 85% of high schoolers did not know what a sustainable business was, and they promote eco-friendly practices and are crucial to helping our environment. So, how did we address these problems? We created a nonprofit micro business after winning a Bloomberg Philanthropies Youth Climate Action Fund, which gave us around $2,400 to jumpstart our project. We also continued this project through the Greenlight Awards, which gave us $300 of funding. We upcycle plastic bottle caps and 3D print scraps into products such as jewelry, keychains, and other small goods. Oh, my bad. I have a video of our process because we have Instagram where we run all of our product making so that people can see what we're doing, and I'll play it. Yeah, so more about our process is that we collect bottle caps from local stores such as Slices of Pizzeria and other people who have found interest in our project. We melt them down in a panini press and we use cookie cutters to stamp out the shapes while wearing ventilator masks, of course, to make sure that no fumes are being inhaled by our bodies. And we perform all of this outside, so it's very well ventilated. And then we assemble using high quality gold and metals, and then we sell them at markets. So here are more pictures of our products. They include rings, earrings, keychains, magnets. So that's how we addressed some plastic pollution. And furthermore, we also created sustainability lessons to teach high schoolers how to start their own sustainable business, like Kids Upcycling Club. And our goal was to present to at least 4 different groups how to start our sustainable micro business and raise at least $2,000 for the ocean cleanup, which I forgot to mention. When we sell our products, Kids Upcycling Club, we donate all of our profits to the ocean cleanup. During our peer sustainability lessons, we were able to present to 4 school groups meeting our goal. After we created polls and forms to see how well our presentation impacted students we talked to, we found that 85% of high schoolers were more likely to engage in climate action as a result post-presentation. Furthermore, after presenting, the clubs we presented to reached out and said that they would love to help collect plastic for our project, and so 2 high school plastic collection systems were being put in place. We were also, through Kids Upcycling Club Power, we were able to attend more than 7 markets, including Hastings Farmers Markets, Irvington Farmers Markets, and other Earth Day markets and flea markets, as well as a women's summit. We found a behavioral change of at least 5 more community members cleaning and donating wasted bottle caps on a daily basis to us. And more stores have found interest in our town in becoming more sustainable and have reached out asking how they can do this. And on the right are some ways we utilized our Instagram to figure out how well our project was addressing the problem of plastic pollution. You can see the polls here, and these are images of our market stands. And our environmental impact totaled to more than $3,000 raised for the ocean cleanup and more than 2,000 bottle caps diverted from landfill, which can take up to 500 years to decompose. And that's an image of me and my partner Ella in the shed in our workshop. So finally, our next steps, we want to keep pushing towards a renewable future in every way that we can. We are closing our business, Kids Upcycling Power, on this good note of raising $3,000, but we are continuing to address the plastic pollution problem by hosting a monthly free arts and crafts group at the Hastings Community Center, where we make crafts with kids from recycled materials. We will be introducing more volunteers for Kids Upcycling Club, such as my friend Max Goldberg, and continuing to find ways to help our climate. And here are some images of our free upcycling arts and crafts group where we teach kids how to upcycle materials, just as we did with Kids Upcycling Club. And for more information, stay updated at our Instagram at Kids Upcycling Club.
Very cool. Hajung, thanks so much for sharing. And you also have questions in the chat, so feel free to engage there. And next, we will be going to Marjorie and Giovanna from Yonkers. Take it away.
Hi, so my name is Giovanna and I'm here with Marjorie Paulino and we're Sustainapack from Yonkers High, so I'll be sharing it now. Okay. So this is Sustainapack. So this is when I had a rainbow hair, but now I have pink hair, so yeah. But basically, my name is Giovanna Leva and I think Marjorie's here. Yeah, I'm Marjorie Paulina. And we're currently 12th graders engaging in the mission to fight for a greener school and community. We devote a lot of our time after school creating plans and figure out different strategies to help us throughout this challenging journey. And we'll explain why this is very hard for us. It may at first seem like pretty basic, like what we do may seem pretty basic to others, but in reality, we'll show you why it's actually very important to our community in Yonkers. Okay, so this is the project preview. Sustainapack is a student-led initiative created to reduce the consumption of plastic at our school by engaging with our staff and peers to recycle more often, especially since we know that a lot of people are starting to convert to metal water bottles, but not everyone, and we want to reduce those percentages. We also wanted to decrease how much recyclable plastics were put into trash and landfills. And having students at our school learn to be encouraged to recycle was the main goal of our project. This helps our environment since plastic waste is one of the leading factors behind pollution, especially marine pollution, which greatly impacts our ecosystem and planet. So at school, we usually noticed how much plastic was being used and how there would be plastic water bottles left around the cafeteria. And we would see in the trash cans and see how much plastic that there is, and disposable utensils and different types of packaging, plastic packaging. And we are very limited by the district, so we decided to begin with just water bottles. At first, we actually wanted our plan to initiate disposable, biodegradable packaging for the lunch cafeteria, but our district and principal, it's very hard to communicate with them. And in Yonkers, there's a big problem of recycling and waste issues, especially throughout the districts. So we're hoping to turn this into something larger scale in the future. So right now, our main focus is finding a way to make sure recycling is prominent in our cafeteria. So in 2024 and 2025 school year, last year, we set up a recycling bin and observed our students' behaviors. Okay, so our previous objectives were to diminish the consumption of plastic in our school through collecting water bottles in a recycling bin. And our supervisor collected the water bottles and would put them in the reverse vending machines where they can be dealt with, and we would receive 5 cents per bottle. And with that small sum of money, we would collect the earnings and establish vertical gardens. So our current objectives is that we aim to meet up with the teachers that are involved in the school and its activities to make sure that the recycling bin can be sustained for this year and those to follow. So something really sad that happened in our school year is that we had at first we had a team advisor, and basically he had to be let go, and now we are not in contact with the supervisor anymore. So we kind of just stayed leaderless basically for a long time, and this really set us back. And then today when we this year when we come back into the new school year, we noticed that our recycling bin is gone, and the poster board that we will show later on that I made, that me and Margie made handmade at home, is also gone. And this kind of like really set us back. So we want to make sure that we can basically have this running system on for the next years until we graduate and after that, and that the club stays running. So basically we're just trying to resume the club that got broken apart.
Okay, so this is our current plan. So since we found out that collecting the money from reverse vending machines was a little inefficient, we're deciding to team up with garden leaders in our area to actually recycle the water bottles directly and turn them into vertical gardenings. Hopefully, we're gonna plant vegetables in community gardens to provide our members of our community with healthy food.
So this was our plan from last year. We were able to determine our aim by observing our audience, which was the students at our school and their behaviors. We collected the data by seeing the influx of water bottles in the recycling bin and observing how often people used it. So one problem was that it wasn't stressed enough, and mainly because we did this at the end of the year, everyone was just more excited on, getting out of school, finishing their classes, finishing homework, finishing up exams that they had. So we want to have a fresh start and really push it on the club and push on the club onto the students and get in communications with the student council and senior committees so that we can do a recycling maybe competitions and recycling competitions, and also announce in the morning announcements that there's a recycling bin. So, and really get our principal to push on the fact that recycling needs to be a prominent feature in our high school. And also we have a middle school in our high school, so sometimes the middle schoolers don't necessarily do things correctly, so they won't put water bottles in the actual recycling bin, or they'll put trash in the recycling bin, which is incorrect. So we're trying to see that if we can get school advisors and lunch monitors to really enforce this strategy. So we created a bulletin board and posters to urge people to do the right thing. And we now know for this year that we need it to be more enforced.
Okay, so here is our process. We met with our principal to discuss the plan, and she was able to provide us with resources such as telling us to speak to our supervisor, teachers, and students we could talk to that were head of the environmental club at the time to establish our project. We also met, as I said, we met with our school's environmental club supervisor. We discussed the plan. He was on board. He then became our supervisor. He was let go, unfortunately. And then we set up the recycling bin in the school's cafeteria, and we advertised it to our peers and teachers.
So we did see less water bottles being left in the cafeteria after lunch periods, and we collected, I think, around 40 to 90 water bottles. So that was our results.
So in the future, we will continue to promote our recycling bin. We hope to get a new one back up. And we want to host a campaign like the recycling competition Giovanna was talking about. And we plan to make sure at least 90% of the student body no longer relies on plastic water bottles. And we also want to speak to our district superintendent to implement recycling bins in other schools in our district as well.
So like Marjorie said, I have came up with a plan to email our superintendent because obviously talking to our principal was not enough. So we needed to establish a stronger relationship with the Board of Education so that we can get this plan to be district-wide. First, we will need it to be recycling done in the school, but we want to make it a huge wide thing, especially for Yonkers. If you live in Yonkers or if you know about Yonkers, especially in the 3rd precinct, there's a lot of trash around there. And communities, especially poor communities have to face with this. And so we just want to kind of make it a bigger thing in our community to recycle. Like I said, it may seem small to just recycle, but in Yonkers, it's a very big and important deal. So here was the recycling board that we made. our team mascot is Bulldogs. So we, put Go Bulldogs and let's recycle together. We put flyers. This was our recycling bin on the last third photo. This was the recycling station, which we called it. But like said, we did not get a lot of support from our teachers and administrators. So hopefully this year, if we get in contact with the superintendent, we can stress the fact that we need more help and support.
Okay, so here's our conclusion. The refinement of plastic emits 184 to 213 metric tons of greenhouse gases each year. Sustainapack was created to reduce carbon footprint by diminishing the use of plastic in our school, specifically in the cafeteria. Aside from diminishing dependency on plastic, we also work with the supervisor of our school's environmental club to contribute to the creation of vertical gardens, or we hope to. And previously, our school was heavily dependent on plastic. Although there's like people that are still dependent on plastic, obviously the numbers have reduced. We also exercise our rights as students to make a small change in our school that will hopefully become a district-wide initiative in the future.
So that's all. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions,
Thank
I'll
you.
respond to them in the chat box.
Awesome. That is an amazing undertaking. Great job. So yes, you've got questions in the chat as well. With that, we will move on to Dr. Diana Williams with Environmental Leaders of Color.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Diana Williams, and first of all, I would like to thank the 4 young ladies who presented previously. You are doing wonderful work, and you're all very brilliant. Continue your work. This is so important that our young people get the message that participating and advocating for the planet is important. So I'll go ahead and share my slides, which will be an introduction to the environmental leaders of color. 1 minute, please. Can you see my slides?
We
Not
see them, but not in like the slideshow view.
Okay, let me see. Okay, there we go.
Yes.
So environmental leaders of color. So we are a Mount Vernon-based not-for-profit, although we serve the entire Westchester County, and we advocate for climate equity and education, especially for socially and economically vulnerable communities. We started this work because we felt that while many well-resourced communities, well-resourced school districts had environmental clubs, there was nothing available for students in lower resource clubs. So we created this not-for-profit. What you see here are students who are part of our Student Environmental Ambassador Program speaking at a fair and educating the community about Don't Strain Your Drain, which is a cooking oil collection program or campaign that we have going on right now. So we know that the climate change will impact everyone, but it will have a greater impact on people who are vulnerable because they have less resources to repair, to relocate, and to do anything that will bring their lives back to normalcy. And so we think it's important, just as important, to teach students in richer communities about climate change and lead them to become advocates as it is to educate children in poor communities. Now, what you see here in this picture are students from our Student Environmental Ambassador Program, the Don't Strain Your Drain program. They were invited to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to make a presentation about the Don't Strain Your Drain program. So we have 4 programs. Our first program that we started was the Student Energy and Environmental Program for Teens. That's been going on for about, completed our 5th year. And we also have a technology and environment program. We are teaching teens in communities about data mining, coding, cybersecurity, and we're going to start a series of lectures about AI in the next couple of semesters. The Technology and Environment program actually takes place on Saturday mornings. Right now it's in Mount Vernon, but we're expanding into other areas. And it gives children 3 hours to learn something and then to spend time getting one-on-one supervision so that they can really play with the information they have, right? We also have a student environmental ambassador program, which I mentioned before. That's the Don't Strain Your Drink campaign. So the Don't Strain Your Drink campaign, for that, the children educate community members about the impact of pouring oil down the drain. Not only does it affects infrastructure, but clogged drains and clogged storm drains increases the chances of flooding. What happens in communities where people don't have the resources to clean up a flooded basement, then there is an opportunity for black mold, mildew to grow, and that increases the health consequences for people with asthma or other pulmonary conditions. Our newest program is our awards program. We're encouraging our students to enter youth environmental competition, whether it's in person or it's virtually. So since 2021, we've trained 609 teenagers. We are serving Mount Vernon, Yonkers, New Rochelle, Ossining, Peekskill, Portchester. We've been asked to serve other communities that have resources because we have such a fabulous curricula every summer for our students. What you see here are 2 of our students who were at the Bedford 2030 Green Light Award, and they won 3rd prize for the Don't Strain Your Drain program. This was the first time that I think Mount Vernon students actually participated in the Bedford 2030 Award. And we're going back this year with some other projects. So these are some of the programs we've had over the years. So our programs for the summer last 6 weeks. The students meet with the instructors or facilitators for 90 minutes. And so what we do is that we send a team of facilitators to a site that already hosts students for a full-time summer program. And our team meets with the students for 90 minutes. During that time, there is discussions. They learn about different climate actions and climate problems around the world. There's an experiment, there are games, and they are allowed to ask silly questions. And in fact, we encourage silly questions because none of them are stupid. And we actually pay our students to answer and ask silly questions. So over the years, these are some of the topics that we have encouraged. We have a curricula team that creates the curricula and creates the experiments and decide what kinds of equipment we're going to need for that particular summer. At the end of the summer, there's a graduation, and the students are required to prepare a final project for competition. And in 2023, when we did our program on water and all its possibilities, the winning team was from Mount Vernon, and they were the ones who came up with the idea of Don't Strain Your Drain. And we have supported the Don't Strain Your Drain program for now 2 years, and we're going to continue supporting it because it's such a benefit to Westchester We have expanded it this year to include all other toxins that people pour down the drain, like medicines or different kinds of commercial products that we buy from Costco that don't belong in our drain, because once it gets to our rivers and stream, it becomes part of drinking water. And what most Westchesterites don't know is that there's actually a facility recycling post in Valhalla for all these many toxins. So our partners, as I mentioned, are organizations that run full-time summer programs for students, and we are in several cities in Westchester right now. We plan to expand our footprint in Westchester. We take very careful consideration of protecting our students. We make sure the parents sign consent forms. We have trained facilitators and interns. We make sure everyone has the appropriate sexual harassment training that they need. We ensure that there are at least 3 adults in the room per session, and we make sure that all our employees have background checks. So I spoke about the graduation day. We tried to have a guest speaker. The gentleman you see there is the president of Mars Wrigley's, who was our 2023 keynote speaker. And that young man you see there told this gentleman that he wants his job. So they had a very spirited conversation about what it would take to become president of Mars Wrigley. And I'd like to thank you. And if there are any questions, please let me have them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Diana. Very much appreciate it. All your work, but then also for coming tonight. So we definitely have a lot of questions in the chat. But does anybody have one that they didn't put in the chat that they want to raise their hand and ask our speakers? Hajong had to hop off, so unfortunately she's not still on to talk about the Kids Upcycling Club, but our other speakers are still here. I had a question for, I'll just start then, for Marjorie and Giovanna, which is like, what do you think is the most critical need that you have to ensure that the program continues after you graduate?
I think it's the fact that we need people that are actually take it serious and are there to support us. The fact that we need especially like higher ups and administrators and people like that to actually take us seriously as well and to continue the program. When we went to go speak to the new like advisor of the Green Initiative Club, she didn't really help us a lot. She just said like, oh, you can use the team, you can use my room for meetings, but we don't really need it a room necessarily. We just need an actual person to help support us and get our names out there so we can actually do something successful.
Marjorie, would you concur? Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to add that on top of the fact that we spoke to the principal, she was aware of our initiative. People in the building were aware, staff members, teachers, our previous supervisor, and the current supervisor of the environmental club. They were all aware of the recycling bin. And despite that, they still removed it from the cafeteria and still removed our posters. And I just feel like that's a little disrespectful, especially considering we put in our effort into that. And it's just something we're very passionate about.
I have just a comment, if I can, for you guys. You know, I'm in Croton, and I've been on our school, sustainability committee, green teams, all of that for years. I do those kinds of things. And I've found that the people who volunteer to do those programs are not always people that are really knowledgeable about them. You may know more than the people at your school. And I'm just having a little light bulb moment, because I also, when my daughter was a senior, I volunteered for a couple months with the economics classes because they were doing an entrepreneurial unit. And this was sort of a like startup entrepreneur competition that was statewide, but different classes were doing it. Since you guys have ideas that are, and you're presenting them to us in a really pitch worthy kind of way, like you've got a problem and you're talking about it like a solution, like an actual business or program that you want to move forward, I'd say go talk to some of your economics or business staff, faculty. Like, see if people want to just help you with your idea who are not green people, because you might get more help for just having an innovation that you want to move forward with. I don't know, but it's something to think about. I mean, I think you're all like, I really enjoyed listening to what you guys were saying, and I would encourage you to find people like that that maybe don't have to share your vision on the environmental part, but can help you get it done as a project that you want to work on.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe I would say like maybe like reach out to your school board members, like find their emails, shoot an email and ask if you can present to them because this presentation was great. You could maybe give it at a school board meeting. And then the other thing is maybe you instead of going up to the top, maybe just talk to the janitors. Like they're the people that have to manage it all, right? And like maybe if they knew, like maybe nobody ever told them that, you want this to be an ongoing thing. Or what happens with the like who gets the deposit for the bottles and things like that. Like maybe there's a way to, you know, use it and get them like Dunkin' Donuts one day or something with the funds. But I'm happy to, if they're like, I think there are ways that WASS can help you. So, like sometimes you said like people aren't taking you seriously, like maybe an outside organization reaching out and asking for a meeting, and then you can join us or invite us to present to your club, and then the advisor can be there and listen in, and, we can help out in those ways. So we'll like definitely let's follow up after this and be in touch.
Okay, yes, perfect. Thank you.
So,
Thank
um,
you.
you're very welcome. Any other questions? I'm sure there are some that we missed in the chat. Maddie had a question for you, Dr. Williams, about where do we pour stuff instead? Like if it's not supposed to go down the drain, and what's the easiest way for people to figure out what goes where? Oh, you're muted.
There is a Westchester Household Recovery Center in Valhalla, and I was just about to put the location on the chat. So it's been there for years, and nobody knows about it. And actually, it's a place you can take things like old paint, which you're not pour down the drain, but people do it anyway, and many other household products, old electronics, those kinds of things you can take to the Westchester Household Recovery Facility. And you can take your cooking oil there. You have to make an appointment. It's not accessible by public transportation, and so it creates problems for people who no longer drive or just don't have a car and use public transportation, but it does exist. One of the things that ELOC is doing, we're trying to get oil collection bins in certain communities, particularly at the fire stations, so that people can actually bring their oil to the fire station and dump it in the bins. But of course, easier said than done. Things are very bureaucratic, as the young ladies, Marjorie and Giovanna, seem to let us know, but we are still working to get those bins in local communities where it's easier for people to dump their oil. And we have a carrier who has promised to pick up the oil for free for ELOC, if ELOC is an ELOC sponsored bin, so it won't cost residents anything. One of the biggest offenders of pouring oil down the drain are small restaurants. We know what they are. They're the little coffee shops who don't have the kind of money that McDonald's have to get a commercial oil carting company. And they are responsible for actually pouring a lot of oil down the drain. And ELOC has been targeting those kinds of establishments to get them to save their cooking oil, and we'll pick it up and we will help them um, recycle oil. Cooking oil is a real commodity. It can be used for cosmetics, it can be used for animal feed, and many other purposes. So it actually is something that we should get. And please don't throw your oil in the garbage, right? It seeps into the groundwater in a landfill, and once it gets into the groundwater, it becomes part of our drinking water. It takes 1 cup of oil to contaminate 200 gallons of water.
Yikes. Thank you, Diana. I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome.
Maddie, I had a question for you about your program, which I know you came to this from your skating, but I'm wondering, do you envision opening it up to other like dance or gymnastics or something like that? Do you think it could be kind of an overarching sort of project for like costumes in general?
Maybe. I'm sure there are other like dance programs or even other synchronized skating teams with with similar problems, and maybe I'll reach out with them. Are you saying maybe I could have them also post photos on my website? Can I have a website where you can post and buy like eBay or Depop?
Or just that, like, if you like skating seems like super niche, right? Like you were saying, like
Yeah.
there's no other nearby skate teams, but there's tons of dance teams. Like, I feel like all my friends, their kids are in dance of some sort, or they're
Yeah.
doing rhythmic gymnastics, or they're doing, all these different ones. So I'm wondering, like, would it expand your reach to be able to reach like to take other kinds of costumes.
Take it in, like take costumes from other dance programs and use as our own.
No, or just make your sales be able to include other costumes, not just skating costumes.
Yeah, that sounds possible. I can have them. There would be like a section. I think my role would mainly be facilitating that connection with like them and us and like different dance programs with each other, different skating programs with each other. Specifically, I think ice theater is a good or ice theater programs are good to reach out to because it's kind of like breaches ice skating to kind of what I do. So I think it would make sense to reach out to them. And also somebody, I think Diana or someone mentioned that I could maybe put my dresses in like donate my dresses to a costume place, and I think that's a really great idea that I might do. Maybe I can give them the dresses for free, but they would have a section and it would have posters on what my project's about, and when people buy the dresses, some of the money goes to the costume place and a percentage goes to me, but that money I would want to donate to a certain cause. I need to find that cause, but I'm kind of got inspired by uh I, f- I forgot who the other girl was, but she presented about like the caps and the jewelry, and I thought that was really cool how they were putting their funds towards reducing ocean plastic waste. So I might do something along the lines of that too for where the money would go.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I am cognizant of the time, so I have a couple of other things to share quickly. So, all of our meetings, we always take action. And one of the action for tonight is basically just reaching out to the county executive and your county legislator to ask them about the waste reduction study. So for those who don't know, in the year's budget, Westchester County budgeted $90,000 for a waste reduction study. And so far, they have nothing to show for it. And we haven't heard anything about it in many months. And the worry is that this is kind of being the money, our tax dollars are being wasted instead of being put towards a real study that's going to have actionable results. So I think Caitlin might have just put into the chat the script. Like it's very short. There'll be a very short email that you can copy paste and put your name on it. Say, you know, like where you're from, your name, and ask them, where is this study? And maybe put a word or two about why it's important. So I think is that the whole thing? Because I'm pretty sure in the notes section, Caitlin, there, thank you, yes. So you can just copy paste that right into your email, whatever email service you use, and fill in the blanks there with your information and send that. Please CC the WASS email account so we can keep track of how many emails the county is receiving about this. You know, their first iteration of this study was not great at all. And they put another $20,000 into it and expanded it based on feedback that WASS and our members provided at public meetings via the comment forms and emails and things like that. So our actions that we take to generate this kind of pressure are having an effect. And so we need to keep that pressure on and make sure they're using our money wisely. And with that, I don't know why this is not, oh wait, it's animated in there. So these are our upcoming events. So in order, the first is that critical strategy meeting and rally. Beyond Plastics is an organization that we've been working with. They're a national organization, but we've been working with them here in New York State to pass the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act, as well as the Bigger, Better Bottle Bill. And it's come really, really close. It's called PREA for short, Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act, has come really close to passing twice. And this would basically stem the tide of plastic pollution, stop generating plastics, and remove some of the most harmful chemicals from plastics. But the plastics industry and corporations like Kraft and Pepsi really come out hard against this. There is a meeting and a rally on Saturday up in Albany. There's a free bus leaving from New York City, from Tarrytown, from New Paltz, and from Kingston. So if you would like to go, there are links in the notes section as well for this one, Caitlin. You can sign up. I'm going to be there. I'm speaking at the rally. I'm also speaking on one of the panels to help us all strategize how we're going to get this important bill passed. So that's on Saturday. The next Saturday is the Make Billionaires Pay Day of Action, focusing on climate. There are 2 rallies happening in Westchester County, and I'll be speaking at both of them. One is in Mount Kisco on Main Street from 1 to 2 p.m. The other is in Harbor Island Park in Mamaroneck from 4 to 5. There's also a huge mobilization in New York City, but I'm staying local to speak to our Westchester residents about this incinerator issue. So if you can come out and join us in taking some action and exercising our First Amendment rights, that would be awesome. I would love to see you there. And then the other is happening on Saturday, October 4th, right here in Peekskill. We are marching because the current administration is trying to pressure our governor to expand fracked gas pipelines through New York. And one of those pipelines runs 400 feet from my house and actually is the pipeline that supplies fracked gas to the incinerator because they need that fracked gas to burn our garbage hot enough when it's wet, like food scraps. So this has direct implications for our fight against the incinerator and the fossil fuels, and fossil fuels make plastics. So this is like all very connected. So we are rallying with a bunch of other groups. We're meeting at 2 p.m. at Charles Point Park at the incinerator. And then we are going to march along the Peekskill Riverfront all the way to Peekskill Landing Park and have a rally there. And we would love it if you would join us and come out and raise your voice and encourage our governor to oppose more construction of these pipelines. So with that, a reminder, we need every legislative district. So if you didn't reach out, please do. I got 2 already in the chat from earlier. Let us know. We really want to try and reach every legislator and let them know that it's an issue that matters to their constituent. Save the date for our October meetup, the tour, and the potluck at my house. And of course, we are always looking for more folks. Many hands make light work. We have our weekly meetings on Zoom, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And then we have another smaller kind of working group meeting Mondays at 2:30. And whatever skills you have or lack of skills, whatever willingness you have, we have a need. So we would love to have you join us. And with that, our next meeting will be the in-person tour of the incinerator and potluck. So thank you all so much for coming. A big round of applause for our students and to Dr. Williams and ELOC for their work to get students empowered and trained up to take action for environmental justice. Thank you everyone for coming tonight.
Thank you and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.